Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk a little bit about music and how for the past sort of 3 to 4 months I haven't really made much music, and I wanted to sort of get into why, because on this channel some of my most viewed videos and some of my most well-received videos are the ones about just make music, man. Just go out and make as much music as possible. It's all about making as much music as possible, right? And I feel like for the past couple of months I haven't really been like living the message that I'm actually putting out into the world, and I wanted to get a little bit into why. So for the past sort of 4 years I've been making music pretty consistently, only taking breaks for 2, 3, 4 months like what I've done recently. So I might make 2, 3 albums and then take a break for a few months, and then in that break I'm kind of recuperating and coming up with new ideas and like listening to new music and stuff like that. Not actively, I'm not doing this consciously, like I have finished an album, I better go listen to some music for some inspiration. Okay, I have listened to the music and now I have got inspiration. I'm going to apply that inspiration to the music. Like it's some kind of formula, like I get the inspiration first and then I use the inspiration second. It's not really like that. What it's more like is, say you make album 1 and that's the one that you spend quite a while working on, right? And then by the time you kind of gotten to the end of album 1, you want to make something a bit faster and take the ideas that you've learnt from making album 1 and you want to apply them faster, right? So then you make album 2, and usually album 2 is made in like 20% of the time that album 1 was made in, right? And album 2 generally is, sometimes it's the better one, not always, sometimes it's worse, but sometimes it's the better one, right? And then from there, you try and make number 3, but number 3 takes a bit longer than you think it's going to take. It takes maybe, the same length as album 1. But then eventually that one comes out, right? And again, sometimes it's better, it's the best of the 3, not always. Sometimes it's better than 1 and 2, sometimes it's the worst of all of them. It's just almost like a luck of the draw, because you don't really get to choose the songs that you're enamored by in the moment. You get enamored by a song and then you work so hard to put it out there, and then you kind of look back on yourself and you go, why was I so infatuated by this rather shit idea? And then, if I was to go back in time and ask my previous self, who's currently working on that song, that question, they'd almost be a little bit insulted by me going, oh, that thing that you're currently working on, pouring your heart and soul into, it's a load of shite, actually. I wouldn't mind if someone else said that, right? But me from the future would just irritate me, because it's like, I'm doing all this work for nothing. I thought I was onto something here, but it turns out I'm not. So by that point, by the time you've finished album 3, you're kind of, your creative well is reaching the bottom, right? And you can either start work on album 4 and just scrape the bottom of that barrel, because, like the bottom of a Guinness barrel is what they use to make Marmite. I'm not sure if that's exactly true, but the bottom of like oil barrels and stuff, it has its uses. That's that goop. It has its use, right? And if you can turn that into something interesting and useful, go for it. Why shouldn't you scrape the bottom of the barrel? I don't see any problem scraping the bottom of the barrel, as long as what's at the bottom of the barrel is nice. It's not always nice. Sometimes you shouldn't scrape the bottom of the barrel. Sometimes you should chuck the barrel out and get a new barrel. Depends on what's in the barrel, right? But getting away from the metaphor quite so literally for a second, and getting more into this whole idea of making a few albums as almost like an album cycle. I know an album cycle realistically means like, here's your single, here's your second single, here's your album, here's your post-album single, here's some marketing material, a few interviews with the band members and a few live performances, maybe a tour, right? That's what an album cycle really means. But when I say an album cycle, I mean like album 1, album 2, album 3, album 4, and they kind of collectivize, even if they don't really have anything in common. Like a lot of these will be like one instrumental album, one soundtrack, one with vocals, right? And then maybe one little EP or some acoustic experiment or something like that, right? Something a bit weird and out there. And it's not necessarily in that order, it can be in whatever order you want, right? And that's kind of how I approach music. So I've done my latest album cycle, which took me about a year and a half, I'd say, from sort of October 2023 to sort of December 2024. Right, that was kind of my album cycle, and I came out with 3 albums in that time, one of which I made in a day, one of which I spent 2 years working on, pretty much 2 years working on, because I've been writing it and had the ideas in my head for a lot longer than I really should have. And then one album that took a few months to make, which is kind of the average, right? And, I don't hate the album that I made in a day. and some of the tracks that are on that, I think, are better than the ones that are on the album that I spent 2 years working on. So it's not necessarily about the time commitment. What it's more about is seeing where your creativity takes you and trying to try and get to those creative destinations in an efficient manner without sacrificing the quality of the material that you're actually working on, right? So the reason that I've been taking a break isn't that I haven't been writing anything. I've come up with a whole album's worth of material to sit down and record. However, I don't really want to make this music the same way that I've made so much of my music in the past. I want to get a band together. I want different sounding drums. I'd like a real drummer. I'd like to record it in a studio. I would like more input on the instrumental ideas and the compositional ideas and like things for arrangement, because I'm a very guitar-centric person, and I feel like I don't want to just make guitar music all my life, you know? But naturally to me, I think, oh, chuck a guitar solo on that, chuck some acoustic guitar on that, put some guitar here, a little bit of guitar there, a bit of bass, right? I'm never really someone that goes, that needs piano, that needs saxophone. I don't think like that, because I'm the kind of person that likes Kraftwerk's early albums, the ones that were more guitar oriented, that Kraftwerk have completely disowned. I wish they hadn't disowned them, because personally they're my favourite Kraftwerk material. Stuff like Ruckzuck, right, which has this amazing flute on it, but that's beside the point. Is that, yeah, the reason that I've been sort of not making as much music lately is because I want to do something new, right? And it's about getting yourself into a space, refilling that barrel, or buying a new barrel, chucking the old barrel out and finding something new. Because what I find is after every album cycle, right, you come up with so many new ideas, and your general ability just like shoots through the roof, right? And you end up on a new floor, a new baseline of ability, right? Each and every single time you go through one of these little taking a break and coming back sort of things. Because I would recommend you continue to practice your instrument while you're on these breaks. Like, I still play guitar every day, I just don't record everything, right? And I think maybe part of the reason is that I don't feel such an immense pressure to, because all the projects musically that I have been working on are more or less complete, with the one exception being the email band that I've been working on, right? Which I launched in January of this year, and I haven't really been as active on it as I would like, and I would like to bring the email band together for some of this, and also find people in real life to sort of jam with, and to, you know, find a studio and things like that. But at the same time, that's not going to be like, oh, I give up on just making stuff on my own, because sometimes you need to make something completely on your own, because it's your vision, you have this idea, and sometimes other people will kind of get in the way of that. And that's okay, because I might get in the way of their individual projects, and the ideas that I'm putting in there that they take on board aren't necessarily for the betterment of that project, right? Even if I think they are and that person thinks that they are, it might turn out after the fact that they're not. And that's okay. Not everything works out with regards to music, and with any form of art really. And yeah, that's kind of why I've been taking a break from doing music. And it's not for a lack of wanting to get back into it and writing stuff. I've written the whole album, and it is I think it's some of my best stuff. Like there's a 15-minute track on there which is kind of very Pink Floyd inspired, and I've been working on like putting some more sort of 70s prog elements in there, kind of like Camel, not Genesis and Yes levels prog where it's just sort of like wankiness. I don't want that. I want more Camel, Pink Floyd, a little bit Noi and sort of stuff like that, right? I want a bit of that rather than just like, you know, like ridiculously long organ solos and stuff like that. I just want a bit of fun regarding the music and a couple time signature changes and stuff like that, which I've sort of worked into the track now, and I quite like the result. And yeah, that should be, I don't know when this album will be coming out. I mean, I've written everything, I've written all the lyrics and stuff, and the lyrics are now in the phase of like the tweaking phase, where you just kind of go, right, can we find a better rhyme for this? Oh, this line doesn't really make sense anymore. Can we sort of shift it around to this? And because your mindset changes, and the better a song is, the more you'll be able to reach into that same mindset rather than forgetting the mindset quickly. Okay, not the better the song is, the more able you will be to, but the more sustainable an idea is to be worked on for the long term. Like, there's been a couple songs that I've made that are very flash in the pan that I couldn't have spent years or months working on, that needed to be done right then and right now, right? And I can't do that again. I don't have that space in my brain for that specific idea. And that is perfectly fine. Some things need more time, some things need less time. It's all about what's best for the project, right? And what I think is best for this project is, you know, sitting on it and letting it marinate a little bit and just seeing where I can go with the ideas, because I'm pretty happy with what I've made in regards to music so far. I feel like I've hit a point where I'm proud of myself, and I can just take a quick break to assess the situation and see where I can go next. Because if I just kept doing the same thing again and again, like that, it would just get stale, it would just get pointless and boring, and I don't want that. I don't think that you should strive to just make the same shit forever, right? I feel like you should do what's best for the project, and yeah, what I think is best for this project is just letting it marinate a little bit. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. Hope you managed to get something out of it. If you are a musician in the London area, then please email me at officialmorrisonfilms@gmail.com. That's officialmorrisonfilms@gmail.com. Or alternatively, you can Instagram message me or something like that, or whatever, right? Just get in contact or comment on this and tell me where I can message you or something like that. Tell me what you play, give me an idea of like some of the stuff you've done. If you want to meet up and find a studio or something like that, we can do some private studios kind of thing, where you can get like £40 for 3 hours, something like that. Yeah, we could have some fun with it, you know, and I want to get more into jamming and you know, engaging with other musicians and that kind of thing. Because also I want to play some stuff live. I'd love to do some live performances, proper live performances, not just like open mics and stuff. Not that I have anything against open mics, it's just that I've done a few of them and I want to do something else. And I want to put on a show, you know, and have some kind of performance. So yeah, that's kind of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts on the idea of taking a break for the embetterment of art. And yeah, take care everybody. Bye bye.